Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today we're back in the garage working on the Countach project. You can see we have it all apart right here. I've got the doors, the wing, the engine cover, the hood on the ground. We've got the body covered. But the goal for this video is we're going to be doing the final coat of paint on this thing, wrapping up the body so we can get the windows, the vents, the molding, everything put back on it, and then worry about just the suspension and then wrapping this thing up finally. But let's go ahead and get started. All these panels that I have here, they've already been prepped. I took a DA sander, did an 800 grit, just wet sandpaper just to scuff the surface, remove any of the orange peel from the last application. If you've been following this project, you will have seen about a year ago, I painted it about 6 coats of paint and then 2 coats of clear coat and hardener, but we used rattle cans. If you want to see those videos, it was a multiple part series. You can check that out via the link above. I'll also have that as well as a lot of other videos pertaining to this restoration down in the description. But for this one here, we've got it all prepped and ready to go, getting ready to take a tack cloth. It'll wipe everything down, but we're going to be using a spray gun. I actually have automotive grade paint that I had ordered. That came in. We're going to be using the spray gun to do the final application on this thing. Hopefully get this body wrapped up so we can put everything back together. We'll focus on the suspension. And then a little bit of tweaking with the engine. We have a high idle. I think it's the EGR solenoid and possibly the idle air control valve, but we'll get into that at a later time. But for this video, we're going to do the doors, the wing, the engine cover, the pop-up headlight assemblies, and the hood right now. And then tomorrow we'll be back to do the body and then wrap it up. But using the tack cloth now, we're going to be going over it and just wiping it down. Since everything was cleared off already earlier, we used a microfiber and dried everything off, so we're good. But just want to use a tack cloth, make sure everything is off, and then we'll start spraying it. But while I take care of this, here's some clips of the prepping that led us up to this point. Go ahead and check it out. Everything has been cleaned. We took the tack cloth, got everything nice and dust-free and any fragments that might still be left. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mix up the paint, and I'm using the 8-to-1 ratio on this paint. We're going to get this filled. We're going to put the respirator on, gloves, all that stuff, and then we'll be back to start painting. I have the room all ready to go, and we're going to be doing each piece separately. So you can see we have our driver's side door here. We're going to paint this first, and then we'll come back. We'll do another door. We'll do the hood, engine cover, the wing, things like that. I don't want to clutter it up in here. I don't have a big garage. When we did the first coat before, I was able to do it because with the rattle cans, I had a little more flexibility. But now that we're using the pneumatic, I'm going to be going around with the hose and just don't want to be creating a mess. So we have this one done. We're going to take our tack cloth now and just wipe it down. We just finished going over it with a cleaner and degreaser to make sure that there's no residue on here that could interfere with the paint. So now we'll just wipe this off here. Take our tack cloth, get it real good. Make sure there's no debris left behind. Get it in here along the bottom. And I think we're good. I'm going to fire up the gun and we're going to get started on it. All right, so I finished this door here, the driver door. We gave it 3 coats of the paint. It looks really, really good. Letting it dry now, might be a little bit of an orange peel finish on it. I have to take a look, but so far it's looking really good. We're going to let this one dry. The process I want to do, because my garage is not that big, is I want to do one body part at a time. So we'll let this one dry for a couple days, then we'll move it. We'll probably do the next door, then we'll do the hood, the engine cover, the wing. So we're looking at probably 4 or 5 days to get those done, and then on the final day, we'll do the actual car itself and get that wrapped up. And the paint that I'm using, it's actually a single stage paint. I know a lot of people say, I don't know about single stage or not, but I decided to go with that. It's actually got a really nice finish to it. Single stage paint, you have the clear and the top coat mixed in one. That way I don't have to do multiple applications, because this is a residential garage and the fumes are pretty strong. So I wanted to go with that. So we're going to let this dry and then we'll move on to another panel. The hood is completely been sanded down nice and smooth. It's ready to be prepped. We're going to use some of this prep spray to go ahead and clean it and degrease it. Wipe it down real good. Once that dries, I'll use a tack cloth to go over it one more time, and then we'll start spraying this in addition to the pop-up headlight assemblies and then also the fuel door, which are off here on the side. They've been prepped as well. Let's spray this thing down. Want to make sure you clean it very good. Otherwise, you're going to have some reactions when you go to paint. So you want to make sure that you clean it very well with some of this cleaner degreaser. Go over it real good. Go over the sides. You can see the junk coming off of it already. Get that nice and clean. And then I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll go over it with the tack cloth. And then when we come back, it'll be ready to start painting it. I just finished it. I wound up giving it 4 coats, 4 light coats. It looks beautiful. You can see from that angle the mirror on this thing. It's amazing. But I'll get a close-up on this. We also have the headlight assemblies and the fuel door that was done as well. Let me get a quick close-up on this. Then we're going to let this gas out till tomorrow. And then once we're able to move it, then we'll swap out, and then we'll do the engine cover. And every day we're going to do a different piece. Then we'll do the each one of the doors, the wing, then we'll move on to the body for last. Let me get a close-up here, and then we're going to let this gas out. You can see the shine, and this thing is obviously still drying, so it'll smooth out even more, but looks beautiful. Nice mirror. Here are the headlight assemblies. They're drying as well here on the ground, but you can see how nice they turned out as well. The wing has been prepped properly. We've got it lightly sanded down. Had some little flaws in it that had to be fixed, so that's been taken care of. Next, I'm going to just use some spray cleaner to kind of degrease it and clean it real good. Then we'll take a tack cloth, get it ready, and then we'll start spraying it. We've already done the engine cover, the pop-up headlight assemblies, the fuel door, and also the hood and one of the doors. One of the doors in the hood, not really to my liking. It looks good, but it's not perfect like the other parts. So once I'm done with everything, I'll come back and we're going to redo those 2 to get it perfect. But let's get this one ready here so we can do this one. And then we'll let it dry for a couple days and then move on to one of the doors. Just finished spraying down the passenger door. You can see it still has a little bit of that orange peel look because it's still settling. As it dries, that'll dry more smooth. And then we're also going to sand it down with 1500 and then 2000 grit sandpaper as well to really get it smooth, and then buff it and polish it once we're done. Both doors have been painted. This one, the passenger door, had been painted last week, had a little bit of some flaws that came through once all of the paint had fully dried. So I did a light sanding on it with 800 grit sandpaper, and then we just did that little section. It turned out beautiful. This door here, the driver door, is done. So we're in a really good spot right now because what I've completed and has kind of met my quality standard that I want it to be. The engine cover's been done, the wing has been done, the pop-up headlight assemblies have been done, the fuel door has been done. Now both doors, driver and passenger, have been done. I did do the hood earlier, but if you know when you're painting with silver or different metallics, you got to be careful. It has to be really fanned and blended, otherwise you can get some striping. Little bit, very faint striping. Most people probably wouldn't see it. I can see it. It's really bothering me. So next time, I'm going to let these dry before I move them. Then we're going to, next time, get that in here, the hood, take it, sand it down lightly with like an 800 grit sandpaper and just do a nice even coat. Let that dry, and then we're moving on to the final body of the Countach. That'll be the last part. We'll do probably 2 coats on that, then sand it down with a 600 grit, get it nice and smooth, and then give the final 2 coats on that. That'll take care of that. And the way that I'm doing these is I'm doing a nice even coat. They're turning out really good. It's got a little bit of orange peel finish. I'm not worried about that because once the entire vehicle is done, we're going to come back with 1500 and then 2000 grit sandpaper, sand it real smooth, and then buff it to a nice mirror, and then we'll polish it real good. We'll add all the black accents, the vents, everything like that, get the doors aligned, put the weather stripping, the molding around the windows, the side windows put in, all the weather stripping with that, get all that taken care of, and then all we have to do then is just rebuild the suspension, tweak the EGR a little bit or the idle air control valve, and this thing is ready to be inspected. So we're going to let these dry, and then we'll be back to hit the hood and then the main body. Everything you can see here, we've got it masked all along there. Couldn't get it in there, but I think we'll be fine. But you can see all this here. Just coming along here on the vehicle. All that's been prepped. All that's been done as well. We took the heat shield off around the exhausts and just covered the tips. You can see also the garage door has been also masked all the way up. We don't want any overspray on any of that. Everything has been prepped. You can see drop cloths everywhere. The car is all prepped and ready to go. I'm doing a final wipe down, and then we're going to use just a cleaner degreaser, go over it. Then we'll tack it with the tack cloth, and then we're ready to start painting this thing, get this thing wrapped up and this body done. We saw already in the other videos, the other items, the doors, the panels, all that, they turned out excellent. So we're going to get this thing up to speed, and that way we can start putting it together. But I'm going to let you guys go because I got to get this cleaned down, and then we'll be back after it's painted because I want to get the camera out of here because of the overspray. and then we'll be back to look at it, and then that'll wrap up this video. And then in a future video, we'll put it back together, start detailing it back up, putting the windows in, all that stuff. But I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, so let me get this off here. Okay, so we are done. Painting is done. Get this off. Painting is done. Car looks really good. Letting it dry now. Take a look. Let me get some close-ups of it for you. All right, well, that wraps up this Countach project. This goal of this video was to get all the parts, the car, everything, the final top coat of paint finished. We got to that point. We saw how it looked. Looks awesome. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to let this thing dry for a few weeks, really properly harden. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to sand it with a 1500, 2000, 3000, and 5000 grit fine sandpaper. Then we're going to polish it real good, get this thing like mirror finish. We're going to put all the black accents back on it as far as the molding, the vents. We're going to paint inside of the handle area, get the windows in, all of the weather stripping, all that. So for this video, that wraps this up. Next time in the garage, we're going to do what I just mentioned. We're going to put everything back together, put all the pieces on it, and that'll take care of the whole body. The body will be perfect. Then we'll just have to work on the suspension, and this whole thing will finally be over with. So hope that you enjoyed this video, this big project here, painting this thing. Please send me any questions and comments. I would love to hear from you. And as always, I appreciate all the support. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'll have links down in the description to all the other videos pertaining to this restoration, getting us to this point. And I'll see you next time.